Hi there, welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to use this beautiful mold from Let's Resin. He's rather cute. I can't for the life of me pronounce the name of this mold, but you'll see what it is. You may have seen other artists using it as well, but everything we've used in today's video will be linked in the description box below. Just to point out as well, we're not, this isn't a paid for sponsored video today. This is one that we've purchased the mold, we've purchased what we're going to use ourselves. If you want to check out some other things we've used recently, why not check out our shorts for other Let's Resin products. We've also bought ourselves these beautiful set of mica powders. Loads and loads in here. Loads. Too many to be honest to show you, but here's a few. Also comes with some of those lovely little dinky spoons as well to measure out the exact quantity you need of the mica powder, whether you're, for mixing in resins and so on. But look at these, the colours are amazing. Amazing. We're only going to use 3 or maybe 4 possibly in today's project. But look, here's a few more. Look, I mean, these are what they call interference mica powders. So white with a hint of blue, white with a hint of gold, white with a hint of pink, that sort of thing. Maybe even with a bit of red. So Wayne is doing the demo today and he has picked this. It's called Coral Red. So very much more an orangey red. Then we've got just a pure white. Now he does use another colour as well, which you will see a bit later on in the demonstration. So you take the lid off of them. They've all got the nice little foil seal, so you shouldn't get mica powder going everywhere as soon as you open it. Remove the seal, and Wayne is just using a technique you've seen us use before, and he's just using a little dry bristled brush, dipping it into the mica powder pot, and then carefully applying it to the inside of this lovely silicone mould, exactly where he wants it. So there we go. You've probably seen us do this in other videos. If you haven't, why not check out our playlist and you'll see a whole list of videos. I suppose clue is in the name there. As to us using this kind of technique, whether we've used mica powders, chrome powders, glitters, faux metal foils and so on. So now he's using the white and he's just coating over everything. He's used a little bit of gold, which is the colour we didn't mention, also on his eyes. So at this point, all he was going to do was that. Showed it to me and I said, why don't you put some gold elsewhere? Because, you know me, he's going to ask me what I think. And I'm always going to say there's always room for a little bit more gold. Just a bit. So it actually looked like he'd done the eyes in the other clip, but maybe he hadn't at this point. So he's just dipped, no, he's doing the eyes now, that's it. So he's just dipped the brush, it's a dry bristled, this is actually a makeup brush I think, and he tapped it, so got rid of any of the loose powder that was on there, and then applied it to where he wanted it to go. Give your mould a damn good whack like Wayne did there, and it will get rid of any of the excess mica powder where you don't want it to be. So there we go, he's applied it to the eyes and round by the mouth, and he's just going in with a regular wet wipe just to clear up where he didn't want it. Look at that, almost smiling at us. That coral red is stunning, with the gold as well, looks beautiful. Now he did go in and do the whole of the rest of it with white, but I did say to him, why don't you try and blend some of that beautiful coral red down the, I'm going to call it dorsal fin on the back of this lovely little animal, this lovely little creature. I'm assuming it's an amphibious one, but I haven't got a clue how you say its name. If you've got this mould and you've used it, do you know how to pronounce the name of it? What technique did you use? Did you use glitter? Did you just use solid colour resins? Did you do what we've done and use mica powders? You know, how did you find using it? Was it easy to use, straightforward to use? Would you recommend it to others? I mean, to be honest, Wayne said he'd highly recommend this mould to other people to use. It's not too difficult. I mean, he's doing a bit more than maybe a beginner person would do. But I mean, obviously it depends on your confidence level. as to whether or not you want to put in lots of different coloured mica powders, or whether or not you just want to cover one solid block colour, or maybe just all one colour glitter. But you can see there he's then applied the gold in on his little feet, and I'm going to call them his toes. So we decided originally to go with the 4-hour demold from J. Dixon epoxy resin, because with all good intentions and purposes, we were going to demold it 4 hours later. But if we'd done that, it would have been 11:30 at night, and it's really hot over here in the UK currently, and we were just exhausted. So it didn't happen. That didn't happen. The demold later on that night did not happen. But he mixed up the he mixed up the resin and added some white pigment paste there. So this is what we mean by a solid opaque colour resin. He's poured in a little bit, and he's just giving it the mould a little bit of a squidge there in the head where his, I think they call them fronds, or let's refer to him as his ears, or his little spiky horns. Give him a damn good squidge, which is, again, he's poured some more in, he's doing the same again. And this is just to try and discourage any little air bubbles from getting trapped in there and not coating the mould completely. So we weren't sure at this point how the mould was going to behave, how the resin was going to behave in it, whether we're going to end up with a load of air bubbles or not, purely because we'd never used this mould before. So there he is, he's just going in carefully, filling up the rest of the mould, slowly and steadily. Don't be in a rush to do this. By all means, decant it into a smaller little silicone measuring jug if you want to get into those detailed parts. Use a pipette if you feel that you've got more control. If you want to suck some of the resin up into the coloured resin up into the pipette and then just drop it down into where you want the resin to go, do it that way. Totally up to you. So we're about almost completely full here at this point, and he's just going in with, and now this is a miniature or a coffee stir stick. Yeah, it's a wooden coffee stir stick. You can use a micro brush if you have one. And he's just persuading the resin to go down into the little toes. There we are. There's the micro brush. Invaluable tool, that is, micro brushes. Absolutely brilliant for this. And then just round the outside edge of the mould there, trying to make sure there's no little bubbles got trapped and so on. And then just fills up the rest of the mould. Quick spritz of isopropyl alcohol. And then, as I said, yeah, all intents and purposes was to come back 4 to 5 hours later to demold it, but that didn't happen. We ended up waiting till the following day to demold. Now, he did have some resin left over, so he made some other little things here, some little teddy bears and a skull, I believe. So yeah, this is actually then the following day. The resin has shrunk back quite a bit, which is a bit of a shame. So it could have done with being topped up a bit more, but that's okay because it's the underneath part. Nobody's going to see it. Carefully demolding this one, so carefully going round the tail, the little toes on the legs there, and then just very carefully just pushing the mould away from the resin, gently pushing the mould away from the resin. There we go. This and that next bit then has been sped up a bit for you because he took his time. Now, the one thing he was concerned about was that he was going to end up with air bubbles around the head and all the detail around the head, and he did say the head was actually quite a bit more tricky, not difficult, but a bit more tricky to demold, because obviously you've got to get it up over the ears, or those little fronds or horns, whatever you want to call them. So he ended up in the end going up from underneath here, just releasing all this part and trying to take the resin out of the mould that way. There we go. So he's got it, released the face part of the head. It's just the ornate decorative pieces here to the top of it. There we are, that's one side released. Almost done, almost, and there's the other side released as well, and it came away from the mould in the end nice and clean. No mica powder staining was there. Look at that. Look at the gradation of colour on the back of his, I'm going to call it his dorsal fin. He's rather cute, isn't he? Look at that, and I do love the gold. I think it just tops it off nicely. It's the same coral red on the top of his back or his dorsal fin as on his lovely decorative parts on the top of his head as well. It's just the fact that it's gone in over the top of the white. So here he is, Wayne's just demoulding the little additional extras that he had the leftover resin. So he's used some with the interference white with blue. Oh my gosh, look at that. You can see that there. Wow, an opalescent sheen to that, and some just with the pure white, just to see what it would look like. So he's just trying to demold this little skull here, which we find these to be a little bit tricky. They're probably a little bit tired, these moulds though, a little bit tired. Look at that. So that's made up using some bits of leftover resin from previous pours and projects that we've done. Here we go. This is with the interference blue. Look at that. It's very opalescent, pearl-like. Can you imagine a large pearl then carved? No, I can't imagine a large pearl carved like that. But here he is. Here's a little close-up of him with his gold eyes, beautiful reddy coloured fronds on top of his head, his little gold toes, and that beautiful red sort of dorsal fin there as well. So we're almost up to the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this one. One thing to say, there's no footage of Wayne just filling in the eyes and the little mouth, little smiley mouth on our lovely little creature. But a bit more of a close-up here at the end. Here he comes. He's gorgeous. Look, just coloured that in with a bit of black marker pen or acrylic pen. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again in a few days' time with another one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.